Hey guys, Scary Stories here. A couple weeks ago we did our first video on creepytalesfromtheweb.tumblr.com, our little dive into the dark side of Tumblr. If you haven't seen that video, it's just a Tumblr blog that hosts scary stories that have been submitted to them by random people or scary stories that they've come across. So, anyways, like I said in that video, I think it'd be fun to read every single story off that site, so let's dive into it. Let's get into the second page. I hope you enjoy. This one doesn't have a name. So, I don't have one set of stories, but I have a bunch of little ones. For a little bit of background, I work in a nursing home in the housekeeping department, and I do the laundry, which is in the basement. I go in at 4:30 a.m. There's only me at this time until about 7 when two maintenance workers come in. Their office is at the opposite end of where I am. Sometimes a girl comes in at 7 also to work with me, but other than that I'm alone until 7. The basement, especially, is very haunted. Ooh, this is gonna be good. A worker even died inside the laundry room where I work. No joke. Okay, that part's not good, but yeah. I'm not trying to sound crazy, but I know ghosts and spirits gravitate towards me. I've even been told I'm very intuitive and have had dreams that have come true and predicted things. Anyways, here's some of the things that have happened. One time I was walking down a hallway and it was really early in the morning and I had to go to the bathroom. I finished up and was walking back down the hallway and I felt like somebody was following me. I heard footsteps beside me and felt like somebody was there. I whipped around and nobody was. Ooh. Another time I was walking out of the laundry room and on one side of the hallway there is clothes for residents hanging on a rack. There was a few things, but not much. I was walking by the wall on the opposite side of the clothes and all of a sudden I heard like a metal on metal scratching noise. Metal on metal. Like a hanger moving on a metal rack. I turn around and there's one article of clothing moving like somebody touched it. Just one. Here's a picture of the hallway. Let's open that up. Oh, I can't. Never mind. I'll try and make it bigger. That's what she said. Yeah, that's the hallway. It looks pretty spooky, I guess. I don't know. I'd be kind of scared in the morning. No, probably not. Never mind. There's a few more happenings, so let's see if, like, a crazy guy with a hook shows up. They go on to write, "We usually keep the door open to the hallway. I usually open it as soon as I get into the laundry room. There's a table in the middle, and you can see the hallway out of the corner of your eye. I'm standing at the table doing my work, and I see this white figure walk by the door. And I freeze for a second. It's like a Scooby-Doo ghost in a bedsheet. Then I go out to the hallway, and there's no one there. From that point on, I keep the door closed until 7. If it by chance really was somebody, you can hear the hallway door close, and it's really loud. I heard nothing. Some other little things are that I'll be in the back in the dirty linen room, sorting clothes to put in the wash. There are bins inside this laundry room where you put the clean linen in to fold. Just so you know, the bins are very noisy and they squeak a lot. Anyways, when I'm in the back room, sometimes I hear those bins move and I'll go to the door to look out and there's nobody there. Brooms will fall from places where they're securely set and I see things out of the corner of my eye a lot, dashing across the room. Today actually, I had just come in and gone upstairs. It was about 4:40 a.m. One of the nurses asked me, "Did you call here?" I was confused and said, "Did I call here? No." Then she asked, "When exactly did I come in?" Well, my normal time, I said I got there around 4:30. She said at 4, she got a call from the laundry room, the phone that tells you what department is calling. And when she picked up, well, it was just a dial tone. A lot doesn't freak me out, but that did. It sounds like a lot does freak her out, though. Anyways, here's the kicker. Here's the last point she makes. When I pay stuff like this attention, more stuff happens. Which, personally, I think that's, kind of how this works. Like, when you're looking for patterns, you'll notice them. She says, I walked past a room before I went downstairs, and I heard somebody walking, and I looked inside, but nobody was there. And then a broom crashed to the floor in the laundry room, and I kept seeing things out of the corner of my eye, even after the phone thing. I usually brush most of this off, but a few freak me out. That's just some of the experiences, and I know other people in the building have seen and heard many things too. Now, here are just a few things I've personally experienced, and my brothers really quickly experienced too, in my house. We all believe my room's haunted. When you go in there, it just feels like somebody's watching you, and it's this really intense feeling. When my brothers were younger, they heard a baby crying in the hallway. When I was little, my mom would sometimes sleep with me, and I had my back turned to her, and I woke up. It sounded like she was talking to somebody in the hallway, but when I turned over, she was still sleeping next to me. In my bed, I felt like a cat was jumping and walking on me, but when I looked over, my cat was sleeping on the floor. If me and my mom went on vacation, my brother would sometimes sleep in my bed with my dog, 'cause that's where she sleeps. He told me he felt like little cat footprints were walking all around him, but when he looked again, my cat was sleeping on the floor. He's even seen dark figures and other things that have happened. I went into the photos on my iPhone one morning and I saw somehow a weird picture had been taken of me while I was sleeping. Just the other night even, I woke up and felt like somebody was looking at me, and I saw the outline of a woman. These are just some of the things I've experienced. Well, it's probably safe to say she's haunted. Thank you, Caroline. This next story also doesn't have a title. It starts with somebody saying, I had submitted a story a while ago called Adventures of Growing Up in a Victorian House, featuring knocking at my door. After it was posted, I was talking about it with the same cousin who had spent a lot of time in the summers over at my house. She reminded me of another event that I thought until recently was just my imagination. Now, just before we get into the story, if you're paying attention, I just want to ask you, and please let me know down below in the comments, would you prefer if we read these stories from the oldest posts leading up to the latest post? Or do you prefer how we're doing it now, where we're just kind of starting at page 1 and just reading through and going back? Because I'm realizing now that this person's referencing an older post that they submitted, which we haven't gotten to yet, so maybe it makes more sense to start at page 46 and go from there. Yeah, I don't know. Let me know. Back to the story. They say, I was about 8 or 9 when this happened, and I'd been really sick with a bad cold or something, and one night I was having trouble getting comfortable enough to sleep. My bed was in the middle of the room, facing my desk and bookshelf, and at the top of the bookshelf I had about 7 or so stuffed animals. I don't remember too much else about the room, only the fact that my cousin, she would have been about 12 or 13, was on the floor in a sleeping bag across the room. So I'm trying to get some sleep, looking around my room when I casually notice my stuffed animals are moving. It's weird to describe, but it's like they were having a conversation. Their heads were tilting, turning their heads side to side, up and down. I wasn't scared at all, because it was almost like if you went to a puppet show or something and the puppets were doing very mundane, vaguely comical things for entertainment. I can't describe it, lol. Anyways, I didn't hear anything, but I watched them for about 15 minutes before I verbally asked them, "What are you all talking about?" And then everything stopped. Eventually I managed to drift off to sleep. For years, I'm 22 now, I was convinced that the whole thing was just me being silly, and I did have a cold, so I was pretty sure it was probably a fever or something giving me weird dreams. But my cousin, when talking about that house, asked me if I remember that time I was sick and that lady came in and made my toys play talk. I never saw the person in my room, just the stuffed animals moving. Apparently my cousin saw someone reaching up and moving the toys around and looking back towards me, but she wasn't sure if she was awake or sleeping, and she also didn't feel afraid. So either we shared a very bizarre dream, or something I don't even know, but it was weird. We got 2 more stories on this page. I hope you're ready for them. This one's called, Are You Still There? No, Are You Still Here? Sorry. Trigger warnings. Death. Mention of death. So, back in November, our best friend, let's call her L to make it easier, died in a car crash. It was just sad because she was our best friend and she was only 20. So recently, we went to visit Elle's family since we're all still close and it's a nice feeling to get over the fact she's dead. What? That doesn't sound right. And her mom told us a few interesting things. A few days before Elle's death, she had a dream where her mother was carrying an urn and she was crying. All her family was visiting, yet she was invisible and nobody could hear her. 2 days after that dream, she got into that crash. After the funeral and cremation, the mother brought back the urn with Elle's ashes and proceeded to cry and tell all the family visiting to leave, just like Elle's dream. It wasn't until a bit later that the mother realized Elle had dreamed of the aftermath of her death. A few days later, Elle's ashes were brought home. A mysterious note showed up on her desk. Mind you, we had been in her room after the funeral. Her desk was messy, but there was no paper of any kind on the desk. The note had writing in pencil and blue ink on top of the pencil, and the weird thing is that it was filled with answers to questions her mom had been asking her. Her mom still talks to her out loud sometimes. The mom was singing Amazing Grace, and lo and behold, there's a few lines of Amazing Grace. The mom had asked what color urn Elle wanted, blue or purple. They keep saying long and behold, but I'm pretty sure it's lo and behold, so. Lo and behold, blue ink, and random section saying, blue, blue, blue. And it's definitely Elle's writing. 6 years of seeing her writing, I know it's hers. Elle's mom thought that she was going crazy because not just 1, but 2 notes appeared. The second one was more incoherent than the first one. One more thing. Whenever somebody walks into Elle's room, some weird things start to happen. Either her bed will squeak, which only happens if somebody sits on it, or the bird in there will go crazy, or her closet will move. It's just weird. I don't know what to think of all of it, but it does make for a good story, so long and behold. Lo and behold. Right? It's lo and behold. Lo and behold. Yeah. Lo and behold is an idiom used to express surprise or wonder. Literally means look and see. So, yeah. Long and behold, no. It's lo and behold. Sorry, anyways. Lo and behold. Too long didn't read. Friend died in car crash. Turns out she saw the aftermath of her death a few days before her death. 2 weird notes appear in her room, and weird things start to happen in her room. Yeah, dreams are kind of weird. I feel like you can sort of predict certain things with them. Anyways, one more story. It's pretty short and there's no title. So I've always had a connection to the weird. I get those feelings and the places turn out to be haunted. I have nightmares, then something bad happens. I hear 3 knocks and then somebody dies. It always happens. This story I did not have a part in. My brother was always very uptight. He thought he knew everything, you know, one of those guys, but not anymore. Would you kill him? Him and my mom were driving home one day. I live right next to a farm, my house is in the woods, and my brother was arguing about something, I don't know what, but he suddenly stops when they start to pass by the farm field. My mom looks over, and she said she immediately stepped on the gas. They both saw a man, dressed all in black, standing on the side of the road. When my mom sped up, my brother turned around and he wasn't there anymore. A couple of years later, my friend drove up by my house and was crying when she got out of her car. She saw the same guy standing at the top of my road. We never found out if he was real or not, but it sure as hell was creepy. So yeah, there you go. There's another 4 or 5 stories for you. I also lied. That was still page 1, so we're not as far as you thought. But with that said, I don't think we're not too far that we can't pivot this. Like I said earlier, would you rather start on page 46, which would be chronologically the first story ever posted on this blog, or would you rather keep going like we're doing now, starting on page 1, which is the last story that was ever posted on here, and just read through? The only reason I ask is because when we read it this way, I feel like there's some stories that we're going to miss context on because they were posted before and we haven't gotten to them yet, so I don't know. Hopefully that makes sense. If it did, let me know what you think down below, and we can switch it up. Anyways, I hope you're taking care of yourself, and I hope you're treating yourself well. If you liked the video, give it a like. Maybe share with a friend. If you disliked it, give it a dislike. Tell me I suck down below or something. And I'll see you in the next one. I'm forgetting all the things I normally say, so sorry. I hope you have a good night. Bye for now.